Good morning, my dear students, the listeners, the spectators, the audience. All of you are most welcome in this morning session of English literature. I am Dr. Naresh Agrawal, going to represent a very world class personality, Swami Vivekanand. The present essay, Swami Vivekanand, The Great Journey to the West, written by Roman Roland. Roman Roland was a French writer. He was born on 29th January 1866 and died on 30th December 1944. The present essay discusses with vividness and sensitivity of Vivekanand's first journey to America to attend religious parliament. Actually, in India, Swami Vivekananda had no authentic information about the parliament of religions. Simply, he had heard from somewhere that a world level parliament of religion was going to be held somewhere in America. When he heard of it, he at once decided to go there to take part in it. Neither he himself nor his followers, nor disciples, nor his friends, students, pandits, ministers, or the Maharaja of Khetri, who was the patron and the great admirer of Swami Vivekananda, made any effort to know the real date and place of the parliament. They all had become thoughtless, or it did not come to their mind that they should know the basic information about a program which was to be held in hundreds or thousands of miles away from India, and where their man was going to represent. Vivekanand, who was the participant in this parliament, even did not know what was the exact date or which was the place of the parliament and what were the formalities to take part in it or what was the process to attend it. Simply went to America with very few things. He did not take a single document of his identity or recognition or letters of recommendations with him. He was fully confident and he had in his mind only about the parliament. He did not think about other necessary things. He was much eager to reach America only, as if it was enough to present himself at the parliament. He did not consider the climatic conditions and customs and had great trouble on account of. He froze on reaching Canada. However, everywhere in China and Japan, his attention was drawn by all that might confirm his hypothesis and conviction of the religious influence of ancient India over the empires of the Far East and of the spiritual unity of Asia. The thought of ills from which his own country suffered and the sight of the progress achieved by Japan saddened him. Anyhow, Vivekananda reached Chicago in the middle of July. There was everything surprised him. The power, the richness, the inventive genius of the Western world. He had never imagined about it. All this was new to him. Vivekananda was a young man full of curiosity, zeal, and much energy, pure celestial energy and zeal. Mechanism, movement, and noise of the world appealed him. He felt at ease, excited with the intoxication of the West, with its mechanical progress. Unlike Gandhi and Tagore, who were puzzled by the noise and hustle and bustle of mechanism of the Western world, Vivekananda was at ease, and his juvenile sensitivity and curiosity made him excited to all these new things. He was almost intoxicated by the progress of the Western world. He succumbed to the mechanism of the Western world and was intoxicated by it. As a young man, he had a feeling of acceptance and administration of the Western ways. Great troubles and sufferings he faced. On reaching Chicago, Vivekananda discovered that Parliament did not open until after the first week of September. So it was a great problem to him. He was running out of money simply because Swami Vivekananda was a bhikshu, a real sannyasi who does not or never touches money in India. As per Indian culture, Oriental philosophy, a sannyasi is provided clothes, fooding and shelter, etc. by Grihastha people. But American culture is quite different. So he was running out of money. He enabled and he called one of his friends in Madras for help and applied to an official religious society for a grant. The chief of the society sent this reply, "Let the devil die of cold." Shameful words were used by him. Instead of remaining inactive, Vivekananda traveled to Boston. On the Boston train, a rich, macastus lady was influenced by his personality. He was struck by Vivekananda's appearance and his imposing personality, his conversational style. She invited him to her home and introduced him to J.H. Reid, a Harvard professor, her husband. This man was struck by Vivekananda's genius and helped him with all his resources. He wrote to the president of committee for his candidature as the representative of Hinduism and bought him a ticket for Chicago. The train reached Chicago late. It happens generally. Vivekananda had lost the address of the committee that going to manage the parliament. He did not know where to go. The people of Chicago were not interested in giving him any information because only on the land of India people believe in hospitality, people believe in replying or telling the address or location of the asked question. But in America it is not so, because as per American culture people think that to tell the address or location of other, it is wastage of their time and much energy, so they did not reply. He slept in an empty box. In the morning, he discovered the way. He was much insulted, dismissed. The doors were slammed in his face because in American culture, there is no concept of sadhu sannyasi, so there was no question of honor or dishonor for them. However, someone in the street asked him if he was not a delegate to the parliament. He was accepted as a delegate. His participation in Chicago Parliament of Religions. The first session of the parliament was opened on Monday, 11th September 1893. Pratap Chunder Mazumdar, the chief of Brahma Samaj, represented the Indian theists. Gandhi represented the Jains, and Chakravartis with Annie Besant represented the Theosophical Society, while Vivekananda represented India as a whole. His address to the audience at the Chicago Parliament of the World Religion was simple but very mesmerizing. It excited the listening throng into a frenzy. His opening words, "My dear sisters and brothers of America," these words cast a spell. The listening crowd stood up and applauded. Speaking on behalf of Vedic order of sannyasi, he represented Hinduism as mother of all religions. He embraced all the gods of different sects into one God, the universal being. The young orator received a standing ovation. However, let me discuss in detail. When this quite unknown young man of 30 appeared in Chicago at the inaugural meeting of the Parliament of Religions opened in September 1893 by Cardinal Gibbons, all his fellow members were forgotten in his commanding presence. His strength, his beauty, the grace and dignity of his bearing, the dark light of his eyes, his imposing appearance, and from the moment he began to speak, the splendid music of his rich voice enthralled the vast audience of America. Anglo-Saxons, previously prejudiced against him on account of his bhagwa color or black skin, because Indians are supposed to be blacky by them. The thoughts of this warrior prophet of India left a deep mark upon United States. This is what described by great philosopher Roman Roland. Swami Vivekananda was born as Narendranath Datta, son of a well-known lawyer of Calcutta, Vishwanath Datta, and a very intelligent and pious lady, Bhuvneshwari Devi. In the year 1863, Narendra learnt the epics and Purans from his mother. Narendra was an all-rounder. He could sing, was good at sports, had a ready wit, his range of knowledge was extensive, and had a rational frame of the mind. He loved to help the people. He was a natural leader. Narendra stands for Swami Vivekananda. Narendra was a student of philosophy, and the story of God very much haunted his mind. It was in Sri Ramakrishna Paramhans he found his Guru. Vivekananda travelled extensively through India and abroad too. He was shocked to see the conditions of rural India. People ignorant, superstitious, half-starved, and victims of caste tyranny. It pained Swamiji to see Indians. It pained Swamiji to see Indians aping Western ways and mannerism. Later he would call out of the nation and say, "Feel proud that you are Indians, even if you are wearing a loincloth." He was not opposed to learning from the West. A really great ideology was adopted by him, and we must adopt, and our all coming generations must follow. He was not opposed to learning from the West, because he knew Western people had some great qualities, and it was because of those qualities they had become so rich and powerful. He wanted India to learn science and technology from the West, and its power to organize and its practical sense, but at the same time retain high moral and spiritual idealism. स्वामी विवेकानंद के बारे में जितना कहें उतना ही कम है। रोमन रॉलैंड एक फ्रेंच राइटर थे। उन्होंने शिकागो की स्वामी विवेकानंद महाराज का वर्णन किया कि वो कैसे वहाँ सारा पहुँचे, प्रेजेंटेशन रहा। जब उनको थोड़ा सा भारत में पता लगा कि ऐसा अमेरिका के अंदर कोई धर्म संसद का आयोजन किया जाना है, ना उनको पूरी इन्फॉर्मेशन ये पता थी कहाँ होगी, कब होगी, कितनी दूरी पे एड्रेस लोकेशन क्या होगा, और इंडिया के लोगों में भी जो खेतड़ी के महाराजा उनके संरक्षक थे, उनके अन्य मिनिस्टर्स थे, पंडित थे, स्टूडेंट्स थे, फ्रेंड्स थे, अनुयायी थे, किसी को इस बात का ज़्यादा पता भी नहीं था, किसी ने ज़्यादा रुचि भी नहीं ली। लेकिन स्वामी विवेकानंद के दिमाग में एक ही बात थी कि मुझे सिर्फ पहुंचना ही पर्याप्त है, और उन्होंने वहां पर पहुंचा। हज़ारों मील दूर जाकर के जो पहुंचेगा विदेशी धरती पर, तो उसकी भी पूरी इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं, लेकिन फिर भी स्वामी विवेकानंद ने इतना साहस किया कि वो पहुंचे। कोई अपना एक भी डॉक्यूमेंट, सिंगल डॉक्यूमेंट साथ नहीं लिया। वहाँ जाकर बड़ी परेशानी आई। वहाँ पहुँचे पहुंच करके वहाँ उन्होंने देखा विदेशी धरती पर कि चाइना और जापान किस प्रकार से उनकी तरफ वो आकर्षित हुए, उनकी विचारधारा से प्रभावित हुए। बहुत ही अलग प्रकार के थॉट्स रहे। जब शिकागो पहुँचे, जुलाई का मिडल था, वहाँ पहुँचे तो वहाँ पर पहुँचकर वो बड़ा देख करके अचंभित हुए कि कितना अमेरिका या वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज़ कितने धनवान हैं, विज्ञान के आविष्कार हैं, बड़े पढ़े लिखे लोग हैं, बहुत धनवान। उनकी वैज्ञानिक पराकाष्ठा को देख करके स्वामी जी वास्तव में बहुत ज़्यादा प्रभावित हुए। लेकिन स्वामी जी को वहाँ बहुत मुश्किलों का सामना करना पड़ा। भारत जैसी धरती, भारतीय संस्कृति में साधु सन्यासी को भोजन, रहने के, कपड़े पहनने के और सब कुछ सुविधा गृहस्थियों द्वारा प्रोवाइड करा दी जाती, इसलिए ज़्यादा दिक्कत नहीं आती, क्योंकि भारतीय संस्कृति ऐसी है। अमेरिकन धरती जहाँ पर इस प्रकार की कल्चर नहीं है, कि वहाँ साधु सन्यासियों की कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं है, तो वहाँ कितनी बड़ी समस्या थी। लोग क्योंकि ना कोई बात सुनेगा, ना कोई किसी ने ध्यान दिया, इसलिए उनकी बातों को ना किसी ने वहाँ पे, जब वो पार्लियामेंट में पहुँचे नहीं थे उससे पहले, ना किसी ने उनकी बातों को ध्यान दिया, ना सुना। इवन टिकट के लिए भी बड़ी प्रॉब्लम आ रही थी। कुछ लोगों के बात की, उन्होंने सोचा जैसे भारत के अंदर दरवाज़ा कोई सन्यासी खटखटाता तो मत सम्मान मिलता है, बहुत सम्मान मिलता है, लेकिन अमेरिका में बिल्कुल इसके विपरीत हुआ। उनको कई प्रकार से, इस प्रकार से उनकी संस्कृति के कारण से और इस प्रकार से कुछ इंसल्ट भी फेस करनी पड़ी। लेकिन जब वो एक ट्रेन में बैठे तो वहाँ पर एक महिला मिली, महिला बहुत ज़्यादा उनसे प्रभावित हुई और फिर वो अपने घर ले गई और अपने पति से मिलाया, जो हार्वर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी के प्रोफेसर थे। वो हार्वर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी के प्रोफेसर स्वामी जी से बहुत प्रभावित हुए और उन्होंने टिकट की और सब व्यवस्थाएं करवाई। और धीरे धीरे जब वो वहाँ पर सारी एक हौसला बनने लगा। और फिर क्या हुआ कि 11 सितंबर 1893 को जब ये पार्लियामेंट शुरू हुई, स्वामी जी ने बोलना शुरू किया तो उनके पहले शब्द थे कि मेरे प्यारे भाई और बहनों। ये बात सुनकर के अमेरिका के नागरिक हतप्रभ हो गए, उनसे बहुत ही हिप्नोटाइज हो गए, उनकी आवाज़ को सुनकर के मूर्छित हो गए। पता नहीं कितने घंटों वो जो सबसे लास्ट में इनको बोलने का मौका दिया था, क्योंकि सबसे लास्ट उस स्पीकर को दिया जाता है ताकि सुनने वाले भी बोर हो जाते हैं। लेकिन ये सबसे अंतिम वक्ता होने के बावजूद भी जब स्वामी विवेकानंद ने बोलना शुरू किया तो वहाँ के लोग कई घंटों भूख, प्यास, नींद सब उड़ा करके स्पेल बाउंड हुए, मंत्रमुग्ध हो गए और स्वामी जी की बात को सुनने लगे। इतनी ज़ोरदार धाकड़, इम्पोजिंग पर्सनैलिटी, क्या ब्यूटी, आँखों का कितना सौंदर्य, तेज, डिवाइन तेज उनके चेहरे पर जो नूर था, बहुत ही प्रभाव छोड़ता रहा। बहुत इम्पोजिंग पर्सनैलिटी थी। जब उन्होंने बोलना शुरू किया, क्या धाकड़ और गजब की गूंजती हुई आवाज़ें, गड़गड़ाहट, तालियों से हॉल गूंजता गया। ये सब रॉमन रॉलैंड ने ऐसा वर्णन किया है। और इस प्रकार से उन्होंने ये एक और बात बताई कि भारत के लोग यदि विदेशों से केवल वस्त्र पहनना सीखेंगे तो ये बड़े दुख की बात है। हाँ, भारत के लोग साइंस, इंग्लिश, टेक्नोलॉजी सीखें, फिर किसी भी प्रकार के वस्त्र, किसी भी प्रकार का मैनरिज्म प्रयोग करें, तब उनको कोई दुखदाई पीड़ा नहीं होगा। विवेकानंद जी ने इतना भी कहा था कि भारत की धरती पर अध्यात्म बहुत हो गया, अब साइंस टेक्नोलॉजी की बहुत प्रोग्रेस करनी है, हमें बहुत उच्च जाना है। तो अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर के जो विचार थे उसके लिए आज भी दुनिया उनको मानती है और हमारी पीढ़ियां उनको हमेशा ही आगे मानती रहेंगी। हमारी ही नहीं, भारत के ही नहीं, वो विश्व के महानायक हैं और सदियां आएंगी चली जाएंगी, पर इस विश्व मानव को, इस महामानव को कोई भुला नहीं पाएगा। जय हिंद, जय भारत।